And as we emerge from this dreadful pandemic, on behalf of our entire WWE family, we would simply like to say thank you and welcome you to WrestleMania!
Whenever I put together a review, not just for wrestling, but for anything, one of the main thoughts I have is, what will this be remembered for? What will WWE in 2021 be remembered for? And the answer came to me immediately. The answer's simple: returns, releases, and Roman. Instead of rambling for 1 hour about every little to and fro that went down in the E in 2021, I figure a breakdown of those three R's would be a much more sufficient way of conducting a review of WWE's 2021. No return meant more to WWE in 2021 than the return of live crowds. From the middle of March 2020 through until July 2021, WWE's show went on without any authentic live fans. Now, whilst the action between the ropes remained literally the exact same, everything went on as such, it simply, as I said, was not the same. It really made you miss merely having an audience, most of the time at least. At WrestleMania 37, WWE held their first show with live fans since March of the previous year. This attributed to WrestleMania feeling exciting and vibrant, a feeling that WWE gave us literally none of during the subpar build to the show. But anyway, I digress. That said, WrestleMania this year was an important one, a show which did an excellent job at showcasing and putting over the now of WWE, something which has hardly been a WrestleMania tradition in recent years. Okay, the absence of WWE icons and modern day stalwarts, John Cena, The Undertaker, Triple H, Brock Lesnar. It gave the show a unique feel, alright? As Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair main evented night one with a historic women's title match, it gave us a moment that would live through the annals of sports and the annals of entertainment, and it was history as two women of colour main evented the biggest live event in entertainment. And unlike the main event 2 years prior, the match was actually good between these two, alright? But Bianca Belair looked like $1 million as she capped off WWE's first night back in front of live fans by raising the SmackDown Women's title over her head. WWE's best number 2, Drew McIntyre, had the honour of experiencing the first live entrance in front of a crowd as he went to war with the almighty WWE champion, Bobby Bob Lashley. This feud would carry Monday Night Raw for near enough half of the year and give to us some crazy good matches, namely their war inside of Hell in a Cell. Alright, and that wasn't all. The performance of Bad Bunny at WrestleMania was something that stands out for all the right reasons. Okay, in WWE history, few celebrities have truly looked at home in the WWE ring. All looked like they were there for anything beyond an inflated pay packet from Vince McMahon. Yet Bad Bunny, the world's most played artist in 2021, put his all into training and getting better for several months, so that come WrestleMania 37, he could put on an absolute show. This match made superstar Damian Priest look like $1 million as well, as Bad Bunny wiped the floor with a former WWE champion and Johnny Dripstick. Along with that, the job WWE did at putting over Kevin Owens, off the back of beating up Logan Paul, as well as Apollo Crews, Rhea Ripley, Cesaro, and Omos was tremendous. WrestleMania 37 was absolutely a success this year. And don't worry, I'll get to the Night 2 main event later, trust me. The other big return for the WWE came on July 16th, as WWE returned to live touring with crowds by putting on SmackDown in Houston's Toyota Center. The first 30 minutes of this show were incredible. The insane reactions to the entrances of Vince McMahon alongside all-time great superstars Edge, Rey Mysterio, and Roman Reigns. It was special. Easily a big highlight of 2021. With the return of consistent live crowds, it meant the incoming return of WWE's big-time stars. First off, the face that runs the place, the megastar of WWE from 2005 on, John Cena. This return was WWE's best of 2021 reaction-wise, at least I think. The crowd went absolutely insane as Cena made his return to confront our tribal saint Roman Reigns and set up a blockbuster megastar vs megastar match for SummerSlam. The next big return came at that said event, SummerSlam, with Becky Lynch replacing Sasha Banks in the SmackDown Women's title match against Bianca Belair. What came next was infinitely worse than Brock Lesnar's decimation of Kofi Kingston in 2019, as Becky Lynch beat up Bianca Belair in 26 seconds to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Still unbelievable to this day. And to close SummerSlam 2021, another one of the greatest wrestlers of all time made their return, as Brock Lesnar came trudging down to the squared circle looking like an Anglo-Saxon Viking warlord to confront Roman Reigns. A fantastic ending to a SummerSlam show that overall was a complete mixed bag. And finally, although this return came outside of the E, as I'm not doing an AEW year in review, and since it may or may not be an inside job, I figured it's worth mentioning in this video, CM Punk made his return to wrestling in 2021. Finally, after 7.5 years, CM Punk made his return, blowing the roof off the United Center in August on AEW Rampage, a moment that went absolutely viral, 10+ million views on the clip, and just generally a simply absurd, amazing, awesome moment that will be remembered for the test of time by wrestling fans. Okay, the other return that's worth noting is the return of characters and actual genuine potential to NXT. Right around SummerSlam time, WWE, off the back of Nick Khan, made the decision to shift away from the stagnant, directionless, great matches starring skinny men formula for NXT and move to a fresh, vibrant, in-your-face presentation with NXT 2.0. Personally speaking, I feel as though this change was badly needed and allows for WWE to actually develop their organic future and build guys who Vince McMahon himself wants to see carry the company for the next coming years, as opposed to physically beat up 37-year-old men with great catalogs of indie matches wrestling 30-minute work rate fests in order to pander to AEW's audience. Okay? Enough said. With all that taken on board, 2021 was truly the year of the return. Now to the second R, the releases. In 2021, WWE did quite a bit of humanitarian cost cutting in the form of mass releasing their performers. Let's start off the bat. In February, everyone's favorite wrestler, I'm kidding, Lars Sullivan was shown the door. Then in March, Charlotte Flair's then boyfriend, Andrade El Idolo, had his ties cut with WWE as well. From there, WWE partook in their annual spring cleaning on April 15th, where an array of WWE stars, most namely Samoa Joe and my favourite wrestlers, the Iconics, were future endeavoured. Next up was Velveteen Dream, and on May 20th, much to the joy of wrestling Twitter, Velveteen Dream was released by WWE. Also, quick side note, hopefully Velveteen Dream is spending this time now changing himself, getting out of the disgusting habits he was in, getting his mental health all in check, and getting ready to redeem himself in 2022. Okay, so there's that. Then on June 2nd, WWE carried out their biggest set of cuts of the year, as Braun Strowman, merely 2 weeks after participating in the WWE title match at WrestleMania Backlash, was shown the door abruptly. To go with that, the IWC's favourite pairing of Buddy Murphy and Aleister Malachi Black, they were shown the door. As well as that, CJ Lana Perry, Ruby Riott, and more were all shown the door. Then, a mere 23 days later, on June 25th, WWE made more cuts as they scrapped Tyler Breeze, Fandango, and a bunch of other, not nobodies, but people who are barely known by the fans, and if I mention them, you'd probably click off the video. So that happened on June 25th. Then on July 31st, we got a bombshell release, as multiple-time world champion and big-time main event of WWE star Bray Wyatt was released by WWE. This one caught everyone off guard and sent shockwaves around the wrestling fraternity. To see Wyndham Rotunda, a guy who's done what he's done in the previous 8 years in WWE, be let go by that same company, genuinely astounding. From here, WWE cut ties with Ric Flair formally on August 3rd, then they made more cuts to NXT and developmental talent on August 6th. From here, there was a few months off releases, and then on November 4th, WWE swung the axe again. This time, they future endeavoured the NXT TakeOver 30 main eventers, Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, to go with Eva Marie, among some others. Then, 2 weeks later, we got more releases. What else is new? This time, it was John Morrison headlining a group of 8 releases, which also included some newly drafted wrestlers and some upcoming talents. And finally, on December 9th, WWE released one of their most popular stars of all time, Jeff Hardy. Now, whether this was Jeff, quote-unquote, acting up and putting on just to get out of his contract earlier so he can go to AEW, that waits to be seen. More rumors and realities will come out about that one. But nonetheless, the fact is the fact, Jeff Hardy was released on December 9th. So there you have it. That's WWE's release catalogue for 2021. Absolutely insane. I don't know how many millions of dollars in contracts that was, but it would be quite a few. I don't have to be a mathematician to figure that out. And it's fair to say, WWE, God, they were not afraid to swing the axe in 2021. And finally, we move on to the third R, Roman. I won't go into too much depth here because the other day I quite literally made a 30-minute documentary about the guy, but I will say this. Let's just say at the end of 2020, Roman Reigns just vanished. Boom, Joanna Wise gone, he's vanished. WWE in 2021 would have been the company's darkest year in their history. Alright, Roman Reigns was the Rock in WWE all year. The constant of excellence, the standard bearer, the head of the table, the guy that would come out, cut his Acknowledge Me promo on SmackDown, regardless of whether it was raining releases, hailing COVID, or other promotions were shining. Roman truly did his thing in 2021. The best example of this was the WrestleMania 37 Night 2 main event, where Roman Reigns went to war in a triple threat match against 2021 Royal Rumble winner Edge and a guy in Daniel Bryan who at the time had creative input, yet allegedly didn't want to be part of the WrestleMania main event. Sure, Daniel, sure. The match itself was phenomenal, drama at its best, and an ending that was the most fitting ending imaginable. It was fantastic. Roman Reigns stacking 2 legends, pinning them clean, then standing alone on the island of relevancy to close wrestling's biggest event of 2021. And to go with that, Roman Reigns just put on classic after classic in 2021. from the last man standing match with Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble, to the matches against Daniel Bryan at Fastlane and on SmackDown in April, to the Hell in a Cell match against Rey Mysterio on SmackDown in June, to the battle with Cesaro at WrestleMania Backlash, to the Money in the Bank battle with Edge, what a match that was, to the SummerSlam blockbuster versus John C.C. Pena, then the Extreme Rules match against the Irishman in Carnage Paint, to the Crown Jewel fight with Brock Lesnar, or the Survivor Series battle with Big E. Roman Reigns truly did it all in 2021. Alright, on January 1st, Roman walked in Universal Champion, and on December 31st, 2021, Roman still Universal Champion. With that said, this was truly the year of the Tribal Chief. So, those are the 3 R's all mentioned, but we aren't done there. Some other stars, stories, and matches need mentioning for this to be considered a true, comprehensive WWE year in review. For starters, and most namely, the feud between Edge and Seth Rollins. This was wrestling's best feud of 2021. From the star power of the guys involved, to the long-term storytelling that dates back to 2014, to the top-tier promos and mic work between Edge and Seth Rollins, to the incredible moments we got, such as the Brood entrance of Edge at SummerSlam in front of 50,000 people, to the god-tier trilogy of matches, Edge and Seth Rollins delivered upon absolutely everything people asked for 7 years. Alright, the SummerSlam match was fan-friggin-tastic. The SmackDown and MSG battle was awesome, and the blow-off Hell in a Cell match at Crown Jewel was absolutely amazing. What a feud between these two men. Additionally, Bobby Lashley's run as WWE Champion, as mentioned earlier, most of it came against Drew McIntyre, but that said, it was an awesome run as champion. Lashley and MVP absolutely shone in 2021 thanks to him destroying The Miz, his Drew McIntyre feud, and his feud with Goldberg. Now, with that said, the man he dropped the title to, Big E, definitely took a big step up in 2021. Now, personally speaking, I don't believe Big E is a big-time main event star as of right yet, and what they're doing with him at the moment is hardly getting him there. But that said, Big E took a big step up, going from Intercontinental Champion at the start of 2021 to WWE Champion to close that same year. Now, with that said, the work of Randy Orton and Matt Riddle in Team RK Bro definitely deserves acknowledgement, alright? After Randy Orton finished his feud with The Fiend at WrestleMania, a feud that produced some weird content, might I add, Randy Orton would spend the remainder of 2021 in a comedic relief act with WWE's resident stoner Riddle, giving to us some entertaining, somewhat cringeworthy, but generally entertaining content while they're at it. Elsewhere, let's just wrap up the other things before I get out of here. Rey Mysterio won the tag team titles with his son Dominic. Volta was finally dethroned of the WWE UK title. Alexa Bliss became obsessed with a doll. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus had a great little feud earlier in the year. Nikki Cross became Nikki ASH, won Money in the Bank, then won the Raw Women's title, and then Charlotte beat her with ease. Samoa Joe strangely won the NXT title 4 months after its release, then mysteriously relinquished it 2 weeks later. That happened. Xavier Woods and Zelina Vega became the king and queens of the ring respectively, and Bron Breakker is the future of WWE. And that, my friends, that is the year of WWE in 21. That is what WWE will be remembered for in 2021.